And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos will recover the latest news and trends in pop culture twice a week, every week, wherever you get your podcasts. On the latest PCC Multiverse, coming up for you guys tomorrow morning, TJ Johnson and we're talking Gamescom. We're talking a lot of good things, including a review of the 1985 cult classic, The Last Dragon. We're also talking about the PlayStation price hike and more. So go ahead and check it out today. Or actually, check it out tomorrow. I'm sorry. Today, if you're listening to this, because it's when I put this up, I'll put up the multiverse as well right there for you at the bottom of your Cosmos. Magic Man Chuck Rice is here. Don't forget him as well. He is here. As far as you're looking a little, I think it's cutting you off there. It's a little, yeah, there you go. All right.
There we go.
What's up, JSJ? How you doing, my friend? Of course, also as well, don't forget Joe Sorrow. He is unavailable again. So I asked, because you're going to say, where's Ox? Where's Joe? So for everybody who's going, where's Joe? He is unavailable. Remember that when he's answering stuff in the comments there. So just wanted to let you know on that. Also, big shout out to the guys from LakerHolics.com. Don't know if they're doing a show this weekend. Sometimes I would get scared when I ask them these days because I always am afraid to answer because it starts a conversation amongst themselves that usually ends up nowhere. So if they do, they do. They don't, they don't. We'll find out this weekend at LakerHolics at LakerHolics.com. Of course, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Yo! Also as well, Empire Jeff TV. Again, Joe Sorrow, Experiment Channel, either on Playback or YouTube. And then, of course, our good friends, Legend from I Got Next Sports Media, Alfred Esmond, trying to get him back on the show, but he is covering a lot of local sports in his area. He is a really busy guy. And then, of course, our good friend, of course, Mr. Stone Hansen at Report_Court. All these people, all these places, all these great things. Please like and subscribe, but don't forget as well to go ahead and like and subscribe to us. It really helps the channel out. Plus, also as well, leave those comments below if you're watching this after the fact. Even the nasty ones that I've been getting as of late. Actually, I'm sorry. With Joe around, I've been getting them for quite a few years now. So if that's the case, whether it's mean, whether it's unkind, whether it's unwarranted, like John's comments are, and undeserved, but doesn't matter. Just go ahead and leave them because it supposedly helps the algorithm, even the bad ones. But the good ones are nice too. We can truly appreciate a lot of good ones we received this week as well. So keep on at it, either which way, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. And if you want to become a member, it's $2.99 a month, right here for you at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Big shout out before we get started to Sports Baby. This guy, for you guys in the community, he gets up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go ahead and put on for you, only a few of you, because only a few of you showed up, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for the game against Slovenia and Serbia earlier today, which was a massacre. For Nikola Jokic. So I want to give a big shout out to Sports Baby. If you guys want to see continued games now that they're actually the friendlies are over and all that, and the EuroLeague is concerned, go ahead and reach out to Sports Baby in the comments. But I'm not going to ask him to do it. That's up to him if he wants to do it. I feel really guilty all day asking him to go ahead and do that in the first place. But that's up to him. He's an adult. If he wants to get up at 4 a.m. again in the morning, that's up to him. But please go ahead and ask him in the chat. But make sure you guys are there. If you guys ask him to go ahead and run these games, please support him for waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning in order to do so. That's all I ask. M24, yes, my favorite Sean quote. I just got here to yes, that is true. Yes, and always in reference to Joe, even when he's not here. He's here, indeed. JSJ says Joe should call his channel the Unavailable Experiment. Yeah, because he's unavailable. JSJ said, "Can we get Joe unavailable jokes?" Yeah, I'm sure they'll be floating unavailable right around the chat all night long. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Before we get into the gist of the conversation, Earlier today, it was Luka Doncic and Slovenia going up against Nikola Jokic and Serbia. It was a friendly, but didn't seem very friendly. I think they lost by 35. I think
Mhm.
I lost track at 33.
It was a rampage, Gerald. It was a
Yes,
rampage.
and again, Luka and Jokic sat down and before the fourth quarter ended, and still Sports Baby was showing, and I'm like, go to sleep, man, go to
Go to
sleep.
bed.
Yes, but it is what it is. Luka today, not exactly the greatest numbers in the world. Unfortunately, did not have the greatest game. Of course, he doesn't. I think games like these really stick out as far as the teammates are concerned as well. Not being able to. I know there's some issues with that team as far as who they got on that team and who they didn't. But it is what it is. Luka coming out today, he did went to 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Yeah, 4 of 18 overall. Kind of struggled. Magic Man, you got to see some of the highlights already. I saw it live with Sports Baby. Again, big shout out to him. Your thoughts? Wasn't exactly the game we were hoping to see. He's had 2 good games, and then he's had today. Your thoughts on how Luka is going into EuroLeague?
Yeah, I mean, he struggled a little bit from the field in the first half. I did not want to watch this game personally, Drill, because I felt that Serbia was going to win by at least 25.
Quickly.
Because yeah, there's just a huge, vast difference in talent. But okay, so if Jokic and Luka are top 3 players in the NBA, and everyone acknowledges that they are, there is a huge gap between the second best player on Slovenia, Gerald, versus the second best player on Serbia. And the fact of the matter is that this isn't a good. This is a nice watch if you're a Luka fan. It's not a good watch if you're a Lakers fan and you're trying to evaluate Luka and Slovenia, because there is a huge difference in talent between what he's playing with now and what he has played with in the NBA and what he will play with this year. With Jokic, he's playing with NBA quality players, Gerald. It's a vastly different game. And, Slovenia has not done a good job of building a national team around Luka. They've done a terrible job at it, actually.
I think they only won once. I was just getting that with Frank. Yeah, Slovenia. He said Slovenia hasn't had a good team in a while. I think in their friendlies leading into this Euro tournament, they've only had 1 win. I think from what I've seen so far, and then it's just been all Luka. Again, going back to our Joe and I's previous conversation the other day in regards to what kind of level Luka needs to be in order to carry this team to where we want them to go. That's another day. It's another situation. It's another conversation that we should have down the line again. Because if Luka does play at an MVP like level, how much does he need to carry this team? Who knows about LeBron, what he can still give you at 40 years old? Is he going to still give you 24/7? Is it going to be something comparable to that? We'll have to wait and see. But it's all being guided, supposedly, by one man, a man who wasn't our first choice. Dan Hurley, I remember, was the first choice of the organization, and that fell through. That crashed in flames, if I remember distinctly.
Mm-hmm.
But it was JJ Redick, podcast partner at one time for LeBron James. And I want to hear your thoughts on this. I know Joe himself, Mr. Unavailable, who's actually now available in the chat, chatting right now for someone who's unavailable. And I wanted to ask this in regards to what he said, because he said that, it's still wait and see. It's still haven't totally put a finger down on what he thinks about JJ one way or the other. I mean, the way he has conducted himself sometimes, I agree with Joe, how it leaves you into somewhat of question in regards to the way he goes about coaching. But it was his first year of coaching. He wants to put his own definitive style. In doing so, you're going to go through some highs. I think that the team was sharing the ball a lot more at the beginning of the season. in deference to what he was trying to coach. At the end of the season, especially after we got Luka, it became more of a ball-centric, hero-centric type offense. I think anybody would be agreeing on that, especially when you have two of the biggest, I don't want to say ball hogs, but two of the biggest guys that need the ball as much as possible in Luka and LeBron. And on the third, you have Reeves, who also needs the ball to be effective as well. So with that, I don't know. I'm concerned because even if Luka has that MVP like season, even if everything goes right, is JJ the coach that can actually see these things for what they are, be able to coordinate them, be able to utilize the talent properly, be able to use what effective bench players he can, and get this team where they need to be, especially in playoff time. The 50 wins is great. 50 wins in your first season is obviously a feather in his cap. But what do you do afterwards? What do you do because your playoff acumen was taken to lunch by someone who was much more experienced in that situation seemingly than you were?
100%, Gerald. Chris Finch completely outcoached JJ throughout the 5 games. I think he's capable of everything you said, Gerald. He's certainly shown his acumen is up to par. There are still a lot of questions about his in-game management, Gerald, considering the fact that in a playoff game he only played 5 guys the whole game. That's a huge red flag as far as whether or not a coach understands the game within the game within the game. I think that is miles ahead of JJ right now. But like you said, there's still an adjustment, Gerald. I think he's still trying to figure it out. But this is what happens when you go from being a podcaster to being in the seat with live bullets, because you had less than 10 podcasts with LeBron James, but you coached him for 82 games plus 5 playoff games. And to me, it doesn't seem like he's any further along in understanding how to utilize all 3 of those guys, how they complement one another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it yet because, first of all, to me, he staggered Reeves way too much with LeBron and Luka, Gerald. And I don't know whether that was just an overall concept with him and the staff, or that had input from LeBron, because there's no way that all 3 of those guys can play together and share the ball, have a shared usage rate, and be efficient. LeBron needs to play off the ball if he wants to play with those 2 guys on the floor. It's just that simple. Reeves has a better assist to turnover ratio than LeBron James. Objectively speaking, Reeves is a better player, and the Lakers are more efficient when Reeves has the ball in his hands versus LeBron. That's just a fact.
Now I'm not going to push back on it, Magic Man. We're talking about the all-time leader in turnovers. So, I mean, it is what it is when it comes.
Well, and it's not. Yeah, no, it is, Gerald. But I'll also say this: we've also seen a lack of efficiency when it comes to him generating good shots for other players,
which is true. Which is true.
So
I think both are decent at it, but obviously LeBron's days as far as making him the primary ball handler, like we did when he was the point guard in the 2020 season, I'm not sure he should be doing that at age 40.
No, I don't think he should be either. And if you're going to have all 3 of those guys on the floor at the end of a game, I mean, it would behoove you to try and employ LeBron and Reeves as decoys, because most of the money is going to be on Luka taking the last shot. So, I mean, if both these guys can actually learn to play off the ball and become catch and shoot threats, that adds another element to this offense. But again, is JJ smart enough to see all this, Gerald? 3, 4, 5 moves down the chessboard. I'm just not sure because he seemed like he wasn't on the ball, so to speak, Gerald. You picked that up right away. The processing skills aren't there for him as a coach yet. He doesn't
I
pick
was concerned.
he doesn't pick up on things as quickly as say a Spo or a Tibbs or a Steve Kerr would. Now they have much more experience, but it's the game within the game that Gerald's been talking about that JJ struggles with.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, the man from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to stop on by to talk about JJ Redick along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Please like and subscribe because I said it on a couple occasions when it comes to JJ's coaching. He got his lunch handed to him a couple times during the season by coaches that were championship winning because they've been on the mountaintop. So they were able to make adjustments at halftime, noticeably that he didn't make, and unfortunately could have made the Lakers record a little bit better had he done so. But again, 50 wins. This team was solidly behind him from the beginning. He did find ways to go ahead and take a team which probably, if you looked at the roster at that point in time during early 2025, wouldn't be a standout defensive team, but for a period of about 4 to 6 weeks was the number one rated defensive team in the NBA. So you have to give him credit for that. But when it all points down to it, getting the Lakers into a position to be in the hunt, number 3 in the Western Conference was great, but it's what you did in the playoffs people will most remember you for. And whether you have zero confidence or not in your bench, playing your entire team, playing your starting lineup throughout the entire second half in Minnesota, I thought it was a game 4, if I'm not mistaken, was truly baffling. And I remember us screaming for people to come in to give them a blow because you know in a playoff intensity where it's even more physical, it's even more exerting, you're not giving these guys a breath. And I don't know what went through JJ's mind at that point in time. I don't care if you don't have any confidence in the bench. I understand the bench was terrible for last season, but these guys were not going to be able to play an entire half like that without gassing out, and it ultimately happened. You have to find different things to go ahead and do in order to go ahead and create a winning platform when it matters the most. That's what I am concerned about. And then again, if this team gets to where people want them to go, if everything falls out right and they win 47 to 52 games and get another playoff spot, we're going to go right back again to where we're worrying about what happens with JJ and how he's coaching when it matters the most.
Absolutely, Gerald. And I mean, you raised a great point there, Gerald, and it's an important juxtaposition. I mean, we saw this previously with another naivete coach as far as experience goes with Darvin Ham. We can discuss, whether or not he really had a balance of the minutia of just as an example, Luka has 5 fouls or Jaylen Brown has 5 fouls, Gerald. We're screaming, why isn't anybody attacking them? Why aren't you attacking them? I can understand within the game, if that minutia is not at the front of the brain. But JJ didn't really have a good explanation of why he only played 5 guys, Gerald. And you have a coaching staff. You have a coaching staff there. You also have a training staff, Gerald. And everybody can see how long guys have been playing. It's all they get the stat. They get the sheets every time out. So he knew exactly what was going on there. It wasn't a good explanation. I just have a gut feeling, Gerald. Like you said, I think he knew that they were gassed, but he didn't have any confidence in the bench. So he was just gonna go.
And you can try and time the timeouts as best you can, the TV timeouts, the end of the quarter timeouts as best you can, but there's still going to be a point in time where you can't cover for it. There has to be a point in time where these guys are going to get gassed. And we saw it at the wrong time. It didn't come at the end of the quarter, didn't come at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Actually, the Lakers found some momentum coming off that rest at the end of the quarter. It wasn't until when it mattered the most coming down the stretch that it really affected them because he had no more timeouts to give. He had nothing else he could go to in order to get the guys more of a blow. And it seems like that JJ, if you have concerns about it, they're warranted. But you also see on the plus side for him, again, those that are on the side of JJ, you do see some things that worked that allowed the team to go ahead and win 50 games and allowed the team that especially when playing against bad teams, this team, he was able to go ahead and find ways for this team to win games that they should have, which again might sound silly, but a lot of these winning teams, they just let one or two slip aside. The Lakers were very effective against teams that they should be beating, and that is a part of coaching as well.
100%, Gerald. 100%. I believe the Lakers had a winning record in the regular season against every playoff team in the Western Conference, I believe, except the Thunder, if I'm not mistaken, and the Wolves. So I mean, they won the games they were supposed to win, and they played steel on steel. SOS is what the term we use, Gerald, to really. That's the one you want to look at. Games against common opponents with similar records. Are you up to snuff? They were up to snuff in the regular season, but as Gerald pointed out, you make your name in the regular season, you make your fame in the playoffs, and Minnesota famed JJ Redick badly.
He coached them well against conference teams, against Western Conference teams. He really coached them up well. They had the second best record in the entire conference against teams in their own conference. I wish they had been better away, because I think that was their undoing. They were the only team.
Yeah, Gerald. I mean, you
top 8.
Yeah,
had an under 500 record against. I'm sorry, the Clippers did as well.
Right, but you spoke about this during the regular season, Gerald. You said, is it JJ or the Lakers playing down to their competition at this point?
Yeah, well, it's very these things hopefully will rectify themselves out with JJ. But yeah, I do have hope that JJ at least will provide this team during the regular season the ability to go ahead once again to find ways to win against the teams you're supposed to beat.
100%, Gerald. And even though the Guggenheims are not attached to JJ at all, I mean, he's still an open book at this point. I don't think you can just rubber stamp what he is at this point. It's an open-ended question.
Or rubber stamp if he's gone or not.
Or if he's gone. Exactly.
As much as Gregory and others don't want me to say this.
Hey, I mean, it's not our money. It's not our money that it's their money. If they don't want Gerald, this is not a good look. If you keep firing, recycling coaches, I don't care how well your organization is run. That's a waste of money.
What if he takes them to a conference title? Then what if he takes them to a conference, get to the conference finals? What if he takes them to that point? What if he takes them to that level with the roster they have now, which by all accounts is not at that level? Then you have to seriously think, as much as to Gregory's chagrin, whether or not Mark will actually pull the trigger and fire both JJ and or Rob Pelinka. So again, as much as I don't want Rob there, if they go far, he may get another pass, and that may be.
We're not the Knicks. We're not that. The Lakers are not the Knicks. They don't fire their coaches who make the conference finals.
Yes. Well, at best, regular season games, yes, I understand that they do not play defense, and I understand it's where the coaching counts is mainly as far as what we see in the postseason. But you have to get them there. You have to get them to a spot where they can compete for a championship. If you're
Actually,
saying regular season,
Woke
go
Dog,
ahead.
you are wrong. You are wrong. He was fired the year after. The year after he made
Well,
the
he's just,
Western
but
Conference Finals.
he did go to the West Finals in one of the years that he was there. So we'll see. But Woke Dog, that was also a basis of the team. The team themselves, AD was tired of Ham's act. He clearly said so the following training camp. They were done with hearing what Darvin Ham says. And that's hard to lose a team, Magic Man, lose a locker room in just 2 seasons, as Ham did. And my question to you is, JJ is a very abrasive character. I mean, the championship shape comment could have gone very wrong for him if Luka did not like that way it was phrased or the way it was said. He is a very abrasive character, as Joe and I have mentioned. It's Joe's talked about as far as his comments, even before he became a coach. He could easily find himself in that same position Ham did not too long ago, as far as the team not wanting to hear what he has to say.
Oh, I'm 100%. We're all the same age here. I'm the same age as JJ and LeBron. I got to tell you, Gerald, if I was LeBron James, that guy wouldn't talk to me the way he talks to the media or the way he talks to other people. So I'll also say, Gerald, he needs to improve on that as well. I mean, you have to have some kind of bedside manner. You can't just decide you had a bad game and you're and can we stop? Can he stop, please, doing this when he's doing interviews? He's just holding the mic like he's some kind of Japanese pop star or something. Like, you're a head coach. Go up to the podium, sit there, and answer questions. This isn't a meet and greet with your fan club where you're sitting in a chair. Oh, like, I mean, he's like you said, and like Joe said, he's got this abrasive attitude with this laissez-faire, nonchalant attitude. Like, it's not a good combination. You come off as a complete and utter a-hole. And
again, we'll have to see what JJ. Again, we'll probably get a lot of sound bites from him going forward. So I can't wait for that to go ahead and talk about it, relate that on the show. But yes, I understand that the regular season doesn't hold as much importance for a coach as what he does in the playoffs. And I get that. I understand that. But you have to get them there in the first place. And if the Lakers can get another 50-win season out of this team, a team that still has quite a few weaknesses, in my opinion, and in Sean's as well, then you are doing something with it. You are doing something credible as far as coaching in the league. Some of that has to be attributed to coaching. Now, if it leads to another first round loss, then I think a lot of people like myself and Gregory and others who want to see a nice change of scenery will get that change of scenery. But if it goes a long way, like Gregory says, you know what, we'll deal with the consequences. We'll deal with another year of Rob or JJ or whatnot if they go a long way. But again, JJ has to improve on his decision making when it matters the most.
That needs to be number one, Gerald, 100%. And Wook, great question. I would say if there is another first round exit, I would say that, Gerald, I'm 99% sure he's out the door.
They're both gone.
They're both
gone.
Yeah,
they're both gone.
He needs to improve significantly in that area, Gerald.
Yeah, Gregory says the same thing. Yeah, you know, the 50 wins is nice, and 50 wins is nice, especially for a team like this that doesn't have depth,
right?
Doesn't have a bench. Still, that I think is average at best at this point in time. It's a little better, but it's not where it needs to be. But if he can get a team to 50 wins like that, that's great. But how rested will Luka and LeBron be in the play? These are things that he has to consider, especially in that last month of the season. How healthy is your team? How healthy are your two-star players? Where do you see this going? How do you see a pathway to a title, and what do you need to do to work this team to get there? These are things that hopefully will be examined more closely by JJ now that he's had a taste, now that he's had some experience. I do not want to see him outcoached, not just during the season, but when it matters the most in the playoffs. I do not want to see him making these head-scratching decisions that we saw, like, for instance, in Game 5, when Rudy Gobert was making everyone look like a little miniature doll with so many rebounds and points and things like that nature. Do something to change the dynamic of that. Yes, I understand Gobert was going to town, but there were things you could do to go ahead and try to alleviate even a little bit of that. Whether it was bringing back in Hayes, whether it's bringing Jameson to go ahead and foul him and get him and start into a fight, which with Gobert's temperament could have happened. Something to go ahead and just try to lessen the effectiveness. And it just seemed like it was passiveness on his part, especially Game 5. They all seemed like they gave up in that second half. So I'm hoping that will change this time around with JJ and his coaching direction.
Yes, because here's the alternative. If there are certain fans out there, and delusional and we have them too, Gerald. I'm not saying they're on our podcast. I would say they're more on Lakers Nation and other affiliates. That being said, you have to look at the fact that if you judge rosters, do the Lakers have a roster equivalent to the Houston Rockets, Gerald? No. Would you say that JJ Redick, would you be confident, Gerald, that JJ Redick could outcoach Ime Udoka in a 7-game series over what you've seen? Mark Daigneault.
No.
Chris Finch.
No, we've already seen that in practice already. So no, the answer is.
So
I'd have to go. Right now, I'd have to, in a playoff format, I'd have to go pretty far down the list of who I think he could outcoach right now, because the fact, again, I've seen it on a platform already. But he has time to change mine and a lot of other people in the Lakers fandom out there's minds as well. So I'm hopeful he'll do that. And again, whatever happens this season as far as productivity will be nice. If Luka and JJ can lead this team with LeBron in the mix, with DeAndre Ayton maybe having a resurgent season. I mean, some of our chatters were saying the other day that they think he could be a top 10 center in the league. I don't want to go that far. Just if he could get us a double-double, I would be grateful for that. What happens with Ravia? I understand Marcus Smart. It's funny because there was an article I looking today as far as a unnamed NBA scout, because you don't want to put your name to it, said that they should start Marcus Smart. Can't start Marcus Smart yet until we know he's healthy. We know he can stay on the floor. If you give him 20, 25 games to show you, yes, he can, then it's a different conversation. Mm-hmm. But until then, you have to go with what you have. Even JJ should know that. But if JJ comes in there, puts a unproven Marcus Smart, and when I say unproven, I mean he's not proved he could stay on the floor these past couple seasons, that part of it, then that's a real risk. And that's also hurting as well the team overall as far as the morale, because you're going to either piss off Rui or you're going to piss off Austin, because those guys are working towards money contracts next summer. So they're not going to be happy about it. So I understand you have to do what's best for the team. What's best for the team right now is probably leaning into a more offensive format with the starting lineup that I think everybody is going for. But if Marcus Smart proves that he can do it once again, like he used to in the old days, because obviously a lot of the line is for him as well, then you reevaluate and go during the year, and you go ahead and try to see if that solves any issues.
100%, Gerald. I will say this though. There's evidence and a lot of anecdotes to point this out. So if you have, let's say you have an average defense, Gerald. If you added a superior defensive player, it would uptick your defense a little bit, but it wouldn't make you a completely great defensive team if you only had one superior defender and an average team defense outside of that. You add a good superior defender to a bad defense, yes, then you see a vast increase. However, there is no defender in the NBA right now that if you put them on the Lakers would make the Lakers the top 5, top 3 defensive team in the NBA. That's not going to happen. So, I agree with you. The old saying, the best defense is a good offense. That's what this team needs to rely on this year because it's not going to be defense. Even if Marcus Smart were at his defensive player of the year peak, he only makes the Lakers a little bit better defensively, not increasingly that much. I mean, people need to look back. When the Lakers are, well, I mean, real farts, we're talking about Wemby, right? I mean, are the Spurs going to trade Wemby to us? No, I'm talking realistically. There isn't a defender out there that you could acquire that will make this team a top 3, top 5 defense. It just defense is not emphasized the way it used to be anymore either.
And I'm not asking for a top defense, Magic Man, because again, offensively, they have a lot of resources to go to. They have decent shooting. They have 3 players who can be dynamic ball handlers. And they have, like I said, if Rui gets more active and involved in the offense, there you get a high octane shooter. And then you've got a guy that can average 15 points from the center position or more. So that can, again, during the season, a lot of the teams go to I'm going to score more points than you. We're not going to focus that much on defense. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score more points than you. I'm going to try and outscore you on you, especially at home. That's fine. As long as they have an average defense, that's all I'm asking at this point. I'm just worried, can JJ still come up with enough resources available to him and enough offensive schemes available to him to create a top 10 offense? If they get a top 10 offense, I think that makes things a little bit easier for us to navigate through an 82-game regular season.
100% agreed. And I will say this: a lot of people are pointing to Giannis. The Bucks are an average defensive team with Giannis right now, guys. They went from giving up 106 points at Giannis's peak to around 112, 113. So they've gone a -7 with Giannis. Giannis is out of his prime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm seeing it. He is out of his prime at this point.
Joe is not so convinced, which is the discussion we had the other day, because he, like many other individuals out there, but also teams out there, are still banking on, even if Giannis stays quiet for the next 2 years, that he'll be available in the summer of 2027, when a lot more teams, like this upcoming summer, will have a lot more cap space. So we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Gerald, I'm just hoping for average. I think this team can definitely shoot for average defensively. That's not asking a lot. Yeah. We're not asking for a lot.
No, not asking for a lot. And I agree with you. I think that's probably the ceiling for them, because I don't see DeAndre Ayton as a stopper by any stretch of the imagination. But if he can slow people down, if they can find a defensive scheme that works well enough, they can outscore opponents with that starting lineup that they have there, because each and every one of those individuals that are in the starting lineup can score and will probably average well into the double digits for each and every one of them. It's what the rest of the team will provide. It will be a question. And that's one thing I want to ask you as far as well. I mean, I know Joe says if we play Bronny or Bronny becomes a regular part of the rotation, you could kiss the season goodbye. I think when it comes right down to it, he's probably right. But I did say that at some point in time, because this bench still is unproven, because this bench still has a lot of questions, I think at some point in time, he's going to look down that bench. He's going to give Dalton a try. He's going to give Maxi Kleber a try. He's going to give Theo a try. And I think at some point he's going to give Bronny a try as well, whether we like it or not.
Absolutely, Gerald. And I will say this, Dan Wokey, you must have really, really sore shoulders for carrying all this water for JJ Redick and the Lakers, talking about how the summer league is insignificant, it doesn't matter, and that you've talked to scouts, and Dalton Connect is going to be just right as rain when the season starts. You are so full of crap, Dan. You're so full of crap. And I know you won't come on here to discuss this, but
I might reach out to him. You never know.
You never know. But I just,
but he moved over to the Athletic.
Yes, he did. And I'd like to have
Jovan is doing his own thing. Dan Wokey went away from the Times to it's just like musical chairs. Yes,
because I would like to also point out that as Gerald pointed out for last year's draft and now this year, there was a breakout star in the summer league named Kyle Filipowski. Now, would Dan Wokey say the same thing about Kyle Filipowski if he had a poor summer league? I don't think he would, Gerald. No. I don't think he would. So I put not a lot of stock into summer league, Gerald, but what we should put some stock in is this. Despite what Joe said, Bronny James improved this summer and Dalton Connect did not. Okay. And if that means that the Lakers can be a better team because Bronny has improved and Dalton hasn't, I don't give a shit what Joe Soro has to say. You're a fucking idiot if you think that, Joe. Because Bronny has improved. If Bronny's it can help the Lakers win, Dalton can't. Why would you play Dalton Connect over Bronny James? Because you're an idiot, Soro. That's why.
All I'll say is this with Bronny. Again, there was an improvement, a vast improvement over last summer. But it's still not.
You're an idiot.
It's still not where it should be, Magic Man, because he's still not great shooting the three.
He's not.
They tried to have him handling the ball, and I think 8 turnovers in one game, which is that's like his dad. Yeah, that's like genetics right there for the all-time.
But his dad would have about 10 assists instead of 2.
He did have a couple double-digit games, as I've been reminded of. I understand, I get that, but overall, it was an up and down. But it was, again, when you were, your summer last year was in the toilet, and you were throwing up air balls, and you were getting ridiculed in the Las Vegas Thomas and Mack, as I was hearing, people just saying some really nasty stuff about Bronny last year. This is obviously a big improvement, and hopefully I will see more. Dalton, we don't know. The guy's he is clearly just getting. Oh yeah, absolutely, I agree with you on that, Magic. It does, as far as where Connect is going, who knows? I think the guy needs to talk to a therapist at this point because he is just so messed up.
Yeah,
at this point, and so I don't know how useful he'll be, or at all, come training camp. Hopefully he will be just sitting down. And if you're JJ, this is a guy that might be a part of your rotation. You got to sit down, talk to him and say, hey, what the hell's up with you, man? What's up? If you don't want to be a part of this organization, let us know. Because there's a very real possibility if he still plays like he's in the toilet, then he might not get renewed for a 4th season because they have until Halloween to make that decision for the next 2 seasons for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Joe that it is a small, very minute chance, but there is the possibility that Dalton Connect can have actually less guaranteed seasons than Bronny James. And That wasn't on my bingo card when they both got drafted that night, Magic Man.
I wouldn't put any money on that, Gerald, but here we
Yeah.
are. Here we
Here we
are.
are.
Oh my
But
god.
JJ, his options, Vando hopefully
Look,
will look like a player next year, an NBA player, an actual NBA player. Maybe it was that double foot surgery coming off that caused his ineptness last season. So maybe he'll look like a player this season. But again, if not, JJ has to utilize whatever options and not be afraid to do so. Because again, if this team is winning and it's getting close to March, getting close to April, you have to worry about how much mileage you're putting on LeBron and Luka heading in the playoffs.
Yeah, Gerald. The tires were bald before the season even started, and then we pretty much lost a couple during the playoffs, Gerald. They just flew off, and we saw them in the rearview mirror on the highway. So this time around, I mean, there's not as much tread on them, but there's still a little tread. So the Lakers need to be very careful how they wedge all these little problems that will eventually bubble to the surface. Gerald, at some point in time, I think Pelinka. Here's what I think will likely happen, Gerald. I believe JJ will have a discussion with him about you need to give me a shot in the arm off the bench, like right now. Like we needed it 2 months ago, but you need to find a way to give me a shot in the arm with the bench. That's the only way I could see some of our issues being fixed, Gerald. Some, not all, but it would allow for more complementary schemes and concepts that JJ and the coaching staff can use, along with what the players that they have, to make the best of what they have here. Because it's at this point in time, I don't have enough faith in JJ to get enough juice out of this squeeze. I have confidence in Luka because Luka's done it before. He's done it with the Mavs and the Lakers. This guy knows how to get juice out, enough squeeze. So is JJ going to be on board with that? Because this was another issue we had, Joe. Luka, at no point after being acquired did he ever have the ball in his hands with 10 seconds or less on the clock at the end of games. It was either LeBron or somebody else taking the shot. It wasn't Luka.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Magic Man Sean Grice along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching, listening. Evan, I don't know what you've been watching lately, but go ahead over to Men's Journal. You can take a look at the spread that he was out there showing his body transformation. He does not look like he's just finished an all-you-can-eat buffet. I don't know what pictures you're looking at now, but they're certainly not the ones of him as of today. And again, I just put a link in there. You can take a look at that and see what's going on there. So, Evan, I don't know what maybe you've not caught up to date on what Luka's been doing over the summer. So I'm going to give you the benefit of doubt and just say, you know what, read up on it, and you'll find out that that was an incorrect statement that you just made. I guess in the chat they say Buha is a Reeves fanboy, Trevor the same. Reeves is who he is. But the thing is, Reeves wants to be a starter. He wants to go ahead and make sure he gets a lot of time on the ball, get his stats nice and padded, as some would say when it comes to LeBron. Same thing might go for Reeves and Rui and a lot of these guys, because they're playing for a contract, which means they have incentive to play well during the season. That is one of the big hopes that I have about the Lakers' possible success this season. And if you're JJ Redick, you must understand that these guys like DeAndre Ayton, like Austin Reeves, like Rui Hashimura, like Marcus Smart, like even Jake LaRavia, who's on a small 2-year contract himself, which obviously can be turned over into something more, or him finding a nice opportunity elsewhere in a couple years. These guys are all playing for larger big money contracts down the road as early as this upcoming summer. So they have the initiative, they have the want, they have the need. If you're JJ Redick, you've got to continue pushing the buttons of those guys so that they are playing at a high enough level to support Luka and LeBron, because I believe Luka and LeBron understand what those guys' situations are. And if those guys play well, not only will Luka and LeBron recognize that, but also JJ has to recognize that as well.
100%. 100%. And to be fair to both of those guys, I mean, Rui's done everything that the Lakers have asked him to do, Gerald, since he's been here.
Okay.
It started with Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham sat him in that Chicago game, and since then, Gerald, Rui has been a vastly transformational player. He has done everything possible that the Lakers have asked him. Need me to be a small ball center and get the shit kicked out of me by Jokic and DeAndre Jordan when we're playing the Nuggets? Sure. Need me to play catch and shoot with Luka or LeBron and hit 40% from three? Sure. I can still grab a clutch rebound as well. And yet he's still the Lakers whipping boy. I'm telling people right now, Rui Hashimura is valuable in the NBA. He is very valuable. And the second that the Lakers do not extend him, somebody else in the Western Conference will. Oklahoma, Houston, Denver. Somebody will snatch him from the Lakers.
I agree with you. I just think we had a 42% clip. If he stays above 40% as a three-point shooter, again, his defense is buyer beware. He's playing out of position. He's not a three. I think everybody knows that right now. He's a four, but when LeBron's at four, what can you do? And if that's the case, he will probably find greener pastures. Austin Reeves, he's going to ask for $35 million. I don't think personally that I would pay that to him. I know that you guys say Buha and also as well
Trevor Lane.
Trevor Lane are marks, as they say in the wrestling business, for Austin Reeves. Even I've heard Buha in other conversations on other shows saying that that kind of gets into a little bit of as they would say, nosebleed situation. Maybe it's too high for what he can give you. So again, we'll have to wait and see how the season plays out. But a lot of it is based on the fact of what buttons JJ needs to push as a coach, and while we will be evaluating the players on this team to see if any of them, besides Luka, might be worth sticking around for the long term. I think we should all be evaluating JJ on a fair and equitable basis to see if he actually will be the coach or should be the coach that stays the long term as well.
Reluctantly, I agree with you, Podfather. I do. I find JJ very abrasive, not my cup of tea. But if you're winning and you're the Lakers head coach, I don't really care. That being said, yes, it's only fair that you keep an open mind, especially with him. This is his second season. I quite frankly, he kind of got the short end of the stick as well. I would just say also be flexible with criticism as well, because it's been earned. Your first 20, 25 games in the regular season are supposed to be a reflection of what you learned previously. I mean, we'll see if that's the case. I would just say this, Gerald. I think, look, I know Joe says that assistant coaches don't matter in the NBA, but he's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I've disagreed with him a number of times. Assistant coaching is important. The most important part of basketball and football is scouting, Gerald. That's the most important part. If you have really great scouts and okay coaches, you could get by. But if you have really great coaches and great scouting, it makes all the difference. And I think that's what happened last year. JJ was able to really, really rely on a strong coaching staff that he was able to lean on. Nate McMillan was a head coach in the NBA for several different franchises. Scott Brooks, several different franchises. So he was able to bounce ideas off of them. That being said, it seems to me that JJ is also a confident idiot because he doesn't listen to Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks at the end of games when they've had similar situations. And JJ's just going to do what JJ wants to do. And I've seen it, and I'm going to be open-minded, Gerald, but he really strikes me as the confident idiot.
That sounds almost like a LeBron special passive-aggressive backhanded compliment type deal. Gregory says, Reeves to me is no more than a $25 million player. He should be third best player on the Lakers. Reeves second best player. He should be a sixth man is what he should be. And Rui should be a seventh man, in my opinion. I think they both have great qualities that would be best suited off the bench, especially for the flaws that they do have. But it is what it is. The Lakers just don't have enough talent to supplant them, and they are the best options for the Lakers right now in their respective positions, unfortunately. Don't forget St. Jean. Yes, don't forget Garrett. Yes, because he's been actually saying a lot of comments as of late for the Lakers as well. Commenting on what's going on with Luka overseas and his also weight loss as well. But I did want to go ahead and mention that Rui, I don't know if, I said for a long time, Gregory, that he was Rui Hachimura inconsistent. But I think he found some more consistency last year. And I think in the playoffs, he is a good, consistent playoff performer offensively. I think he does show up for playoff games more times than not. I think he did find some consistency when he was in the lineup last year. It wasn't the broad spectrum that you were seeing throughout his career. In fact, I noted it throughout the earlier part of his Lakers career. I said that why was he traded from Washington? Well, the last two games of his Washington career was 0 and 30 back to back before he got traded, which tells you the type of inconsistent player he is. But I think he's solved some of that, especially in the last season from what I saw. But still, I do not think he is going to be more than a really good rotation player who has a certain skill set, Magic Man, with that shooting. But the thing is, it has to be utilized. Like Joe said, and I'm referencing Joe, and I give him credit for it, he only attempted 4 a game. He needs to up that up. What happens if he ups that up to 5, 6, 7 a game, which I think is really what this team needs. If he's shooting 40% on 6 three-point attempts a game, that makes things a little bit easier for Luka and LeBron to open up as far as what the spacing, the all-important spacing is concerned.
Absolutely, Gerald. And at this point, you can pretty much pencil in Rui for shooting over 40% from 3 on wide open looks from all 3 of those guys. But Gerald? You need at least 1 or 2 other guys. So who's the 1 or 2 other guys? As everyone said, you're hoping Laravia is one of them.
Austin's around 37.
Yeah. So
LeBron, you don't know if is he going to be in.
Is he going to average?
Years?
Yeah, is LeBron going to do?
Years?
Yeah, is LeBron going to do his October, November, just middle of December drill? I'm averaging 45%, and then I shoot 30% from January to March, and I end up at 35% at the end of the year, like you always do. We need a more consistent LeBron, not a sparse. I'm hot for 6 weeks, and then I'm cold for another 7. Not with this team. There's too much dearth of talent after Austin Reeves, where you can't rely on your 4th to 11th guy to help production if your other 3 guys aren't a well-oiled machine. it will not work with this team. There's too much imbalance as far as complementary players are concerned. There are too many players that could do very similar things that their backup or their starter can do. There are very few players on this team that could complement the player they're subbing in for.
Guys are getting nasty. Calm down, guys. No need to get testy to each other in the chat. It is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Truly appreciate everyone being here in the chat. Guys, it's just trying to have a good conversation here. It is Magic Man Chunk Rice along with me.
Oh, by the way, Gerald, there was I'm not sure if you saw it, but there was a funny viral video that went this week where one of Bol's friends sent him an employment application form and thought he was being funny. And thought he was being funny when Bol is trying to find gainful employment in the NBA. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Bol isn't the only player looking for gainful employment. For all you out there who thought the Lakers should sign Ben Simmons, well, the Lakers haven't signed Ben Simmons, and nobody else has signed Ben Simmons either. And Russell Westbrook remains a free agent as well, Gerald. So we're seeing a new age in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen, where if you can't shoot, out the door, Gerald, out the door. I don't care how good Ben Simmons' defense is, and I don't care how good he nail clips everybody's toes before the games, because that's all he can do at this point. You can't shoot, out the door. Russell, you can't shoot anymore. Out the door. If you can't shoot in the NBA, you will not find gainful employment.
I think also with Russell Westbrook, it's the headache as well. Again, you have to take a roller coaster ride with him, and I'm just not sure these teams. I don't think Jokic argued to get him on the team, but 1 year of Westbrook, I think it's like, okay, I'm done with that argument. Yeah, Westbrook, you can find your own gainful employment elsewhere. With Bol, I think it's an issue of, it was nice what he could do and what he could offer. He could handle like a guard, et cetera, do all that stuff. But he just doesn't do it well enough to stay on the floor. And he's just not, he doesn't have the strength or the girth enough, even for Wembanyama to guard him, or the quickness to play at a 5 spot that you need. So where really do you put him? He's an enigma. You can't find a place. He'll show up and he'll show out every once in a while, get you 20, 25 points like he did with Phoenix. But then there are just so many times where his attributes work against him. And it's just his fact when it comes right down to it. He's a lot like his dad. He is just genetically a lot like his dad as far as the speed factor, as far as things that he can and cannot do athletically that maybe a Wembanyama or some others might take advantage of, even if it's a Jokic. Jokic would post up a Bol immediately because he's not that strong, physically that strong. So and he only shot 33% from 3, which is not outstanding enough to keep him on a roster. But I think he gets invited to at least a camp. So another chance to prove himself. And I'd love to see him latch on. I'd love to see for him to prove the doubters wrong, that he can still play in this league. But I think that's going to be a very big if for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a big if, Joe. But I agree with you. Somebody's going to give him a shot. He's proven himself that he can make the shots. It hasn't been a consistent go as far as where we are right now. But I agree with you, Joe. Somebody will give him a shot.
You guys are crazy. You guys saying, don't even put him in the conversation, Eric Spoelstra. Let him win a title first before you start putting him in any type of situation. Or let him win at a higher level before you put JJ Redick anywhere. I think, again, when it comes to JJ, I just think right now it is still unproven how far or how good a coach he is. But if we get another early playoff round out, then he needs to go out. It proves that he just can't do it. He just can't cut it. And I think we need to go elsewhere. We need a clean slate. We'll see. If it is a first round bye again, I think the Lakers and Mark Walter will make a clear evaluation of the team and be able to make those changes going forward, at least to the benefit of the fact that you almost have a clean slate from a salary cap standpoint, and you don't have any really tremendously bad contracts outside of Vando, and that's not even too costly in the whole scheme of things. That's going to be something at least good for when somebody takes over. But yeah, this is a proving year. This is a proving year for both JJ and Rob that they do have a vision on where this team is going to go.
And we need to see it in action because, what did Herm Edwards would say, Gerald? A plan without action is a wish. So, I mean, we can wish till the cows come home, and Rob and JJ can wish, but that there needs to be an action plan put in place here because, Gerald, we've had this discussion. It doesn't seem that Rob has an organized action plan going into a season. It's almost as if, I have this roster here, and I'm just gonna watch it play out for 20 to 30 games, not panic. I mean, we kind of know what his plan is at this point. He's been an executive long enough that people understand his tendencies, Gerald. It's very unlikely that he even pulls a trigger before the trade deadline. And the Luka trade aside, he's normally known to be very modest and unassuming when it comes to rumors or acquisitions in between October and January. It's usually February. That's where steam starts to pick up with him, which I've criticized in the past. And this time I think we're in for it because Pelinka's not going to be here, but he's in charge of trading picks at this point. So if he trades picks at this point, Gerald, he doesn't care. He's not going to be here. So he doesn't care if those picks get traded. I have a feeling, Gerald, let me ask you a question. When Rob Pelinka is let go by the Lakers, do you foresee any NBA team hiring Rob Pelinka as a recycled NBA executive?
Charlotte Hornets.
Okay. All right. So we'll leave it out there. Charlotte is always an option. But other than that,
they took Kupchak, man. They took Kupchak.
Other than them, I don't think so. I think this was a person who had NBA clients, understands the game to some perspective, but organizationally, I don't understand his philosophy about building rosters because he's not very good at explaining it or executing it.
Yeah, the Pelicans. True, Johnny. That's true. The Pelicans with Joe.
They'll hire Drew Dumars. Yeah, they'll hire Rob.
Yeah. And Troy Weaver as the GM there too as well. Man, that's a stellar front office there. So yes, that's a possibility. And there's also 2 expansion teams possibly on the horizon at some point in time.
But what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is, Gerald, so to be fair, Mitch Kupchak was a successful player and executive, so I can give that Mitch a pass for taking the Charlotte job. Pelinka's had more seasons where he's been out of the playoffs than made the playoffs, Gerald.
Uh-huh.
He's been I believe he's been in almost as many play-in tournaments as like the Miami Heat and Chicago Bulls over the past 4 or 5 seasons. And if you want to talk about mid franchises, there's nobody more mid than the Midwest Chicago Bulls. And Pelinka's been on, other than the championship, he's been on par with like those kind of executives. Like he's mid. And I mean, it's unlikely that another team gives a snake oil salesman another job like this.
No, Free. I don't think that was his only miss. I think you're missing when you say Westbrook is his only miss. Letting Caruso walk was a big miss. Drafting JHS was a big miss. Getting together the 2022 team during the offseason, which was one of the oldest teams in the NBA, which you could equate to the 2014 All-Star team. That was a pretty old team that he got together with Melo and the like.
That was the Green Grove retirement community squad.
Exactly. That was the big miss. I mean, there's several misses more that I could go ahead and free smoke on. With all due respect to you, my friend, yeah, I think there's been plenty of misses by Rob. His career has been up and down. And again, he's had one good trade deadline 3 seasons ago. He had one good trade for Luka. And then he also had what he did as far as 2020. I give him total credit for that. But in between, there's some pretty bad stops along the way.
Any player that has developed under the Lakers, under Rob Pelinka, has been traded or left in free agency except one, Austin Reeves. He traded Ivica Zubac. He let Alex Caruso walk out the door. He gave THT guaranteed money, even though THT had not proven himself. He drafted JHS over Podzibski and Cam Whitmore. We can go on and on. I don't believe Pelinka watches college basketball outside of the Big Ten, his own conference that he played in.
SPJ, I missed on him too, Soro, and he played really bad for the Lakers, if you remember those exhibition games. So I missed on him too, but so I won't give him too much flack for that. But Josh Hart went in the trade. How could you kept? We wouldn't have won a championship if we kept Josh Hart. So I don't understand, Soro, how that works out. So do you want Josh Hart on the team, or do you want the title for 2020? So you have
I love Josh, but the money wasn't going to work. We needed to keep Kuzma and let Hart go. We got a championship out of it. I love Josh though.
Yes, Alex Len. There you go. Another. Sparkle. I mean, again, and not every GM is not perfect. We've talked about even Presti, and the fact that he traded 3 number 1s away for Osman Dane, who has done nothing for them. As an example, and the player he picked right after, Jalen Williams, has gone on to superstardom. So not every GM gets everything right, but again, when it comes to Rob, it's an up and down scenario, and I want more of a even.
Yeah, can we be this, please?
More consistent talent
evaluation.
Yeah, absolutely. But he does have plenty of misses. He's got hits. But he's got plenty of misses as well. So it's, again, free smoke. When you can say Westbrook is the only miss, that's not telling the entire truth. But who was the Celtics fan that was in here? Because I really had I think I broke to him the bad news, and maybe he's gone now. Nathaniel, go Celtics. More power to you. There's still one up on the Lakers. You know what? It hurts me every day and stings me every day to say that and believe that, because I hate the fact that they're one ahead. And I told you guys, why did I want the Lakers to go in all this summer? All in, and because Luka is in his prime? Because the Celtics are still one ahead of us. That irks me every day. We should go all in every single year until we tie them and pass them. But we didn't. It was like half and half. Got some, as John, I think, likes me to say, buy low, low risk, high reward type players. But it wasn't an all-in season as far as an off season is concerned. So we'll wait and see. But I don't think that, in fact, the season was going to be tarnished. You guys have no shot to win this year, because he said he thinks the Celtics are winning it all. Kind of hard to do when your best player, it's not going to play the entire season, most likely. And your second best player, who's going to be the best player on the court, just found out his father is being, he's been arrested for attempted murder. So that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Help me out here, Gerald. I'm looking for Anthony Simons and any semblance of defense, because they're going to need him to play some defense if they're going to make the finals. and he doesn't play defense.
Yeah.
He's allergic to it.
Christie's okay, Soro. Christie has not been consistent as of yet. In fact, he's still going to be coming off the bench for Dallas. He's a rotation player, and he's going to be a rotation player for years to come, in my opinion. But I don't see him as any kind of great find for. It was a second round pick. Okay, but the Lakers paid money. The Lakers paid, I think, $4 million to move up in the draft to get him. So when you pay $4 million in the draft to move up to get him, you better get someone that can contribute to your rotation. So while that was a good pick, and you have to give him credit for it, when you spend that kind of money, you better make sure that he is that type of player. So just like Adou Thiero, you moved up twice in the draft to get him. He better produce for you and be a rotation player for the Lakers. I'm not asking for a star. I'm not asking for anything, but more than just him becoming a rotation player. And if he becomes a rotation player, then it was worth the trouble that you got made for him in the second round. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Caruso, Gregory, as correct. It's funny because ever since somebody was calling out Rob in favor of Rob, Gregory has been trying to shut that down with all of Rob's misses. But yeah, Caruso, as we saw, that was a big miss. THT was
tough. I mean, honestly, I think that's a Lakers organizational decision. I think that was Jeannie Buss at the top with Magic, and I think they decided to pick Lonzo Ball. At that point, to be fair, it was still technically Magic.
Just like the Zubats deal, as much as I would love to all place that all on Rob, he was in, and as Empire Jeff will say, he was in the room. And if I was Rob, I would have just said Magic, I would have grabbed Magic and said, no, you will not make that call to trade for Mike Muscala. Or been just threaten your job, saying, I'm going to walk out if you do this or something. Just something vehemently saying no. And I don't know if he said that or not. But again, I can't put all the blame on the Zubac trade for Rob. I think I have to give Magic quite a bit of that as well.
We do.
Gregory's, like I said, if you make 2 trades in the second round to move up to get this guy, he better be the guy that you think he is going to be, and a rotation player he better be, as far as that's concerned. Just like Christie, you can't spend the kind of money on him. And then Maxwell Lewis, you spent money to move up in the draft to get him, and that didn't work out, unfortunately. But at least getting Christie did, because you were able to utilize him in a trade to bring Luka Doncic here. So again, he's a good rotation player, and we'll see if he develops more than that, but I don't think so. But we'll wait and see what happens. But yes, Greg, JHS was a terrible pick. We'll see if Cam Whitmore as Rodell, who's probably
JSJ. That's funny. That's funny, man. JHS did help us get Luka. Yeah, Aaron McKee helped us get Pau Gasol too. What are we doing here?
JHS.
Oh, by the way, they both ended up on the Philadelphia 76ers. It's freaking hilarious.
It is. And JHS was a terrible pick, struggling to try and stay in the league. But yeah, Thiero better be a rotation player at some point down the line. Again, the kid didn't play summer league. He's going to go in cold into training camp. He needs to find an outside shot because he shot under 30% from 3. So I'm very concerned that a guy like that playing the spot that he is going to be nothing more than a one-sided player on the court. But I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. I'm hoping we will find some rotation play out of him. So we'll see what happens. But he might be somebody JJ has to utilize during the season as well, Magic.
100%, Gerald. At some point he's going to have to dust him off, and live bullets come, and Thiero's going in there. I don't think he should be shooting threes right out the gate. I think, if anything, the Lakers should. design some schemes and concepts around him getting the rim or out in transition where he gets to gain some confidence, because this guy is not Reed Shepherd or Walton Clayton Jr. where he can where he can
Shoot
get
adequately from
quickly.
three right
Yes,
away.
exactly. It's going to take a little bit of seasoning here. But yeah, we're going to be relying on him again. But Gerald, I will say this: the scouting for the Lakers has really gone heavy on the SEC. They've really gone heavy on the SEC, so I'm pleased about that. I don't like Palinka's fascination with the Big Ten, but the scouting is pointing him into the direction of the SEC. That's where the best players are. Gerald, I wasn't impressed with the. I gotta be honest, I wasn't impressed with John Calipari this year at Arkansas. Um, I thought it was a disappointing season, and I thought that while Tierra played well in spurts, it was obvious that he needs a lot of time shooting at the next level to really make an impact. If you're not a great shooter in the SEC, you're not going to get drafted and all of a sudden become a great shooter in the NBA. It doesn't work like that.
We'll see what happens, my friend. Again, they need the time to develop him, but he may be an individual that might see some time. Again, if the Lakers bench does not support the Lakers starters like we would like them to do over the course of the season, JJ has to find some answers, and hopefully he will so. And hopefully he'll prove himself to be a decent coach and a good coach by the end of this upcoming season. But we will see how it goes. But once again, it is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. Sean, always great to have you here, my friend. Dirk says, Magic Man, who's better, Tim Duncan or LeBron? My choice would be LeBron. I'm not the biggest Tim Duncan fan. I'm going to be honest with you, Dirk. I just think he had a very unexciting game, but obviously very successful results and part of a great multi-championship winning team. He is one of the best power forwards of all time, but I think LeBron has a more dynamic skill set and obviously has the stats to prove it.
I'm not sure if Dirk, how long Dirk's been watching. Thanks for the question, Dirk. My guess is a while because I talk about Duncan a lot. I would pick Duncan over LeBron.
Okay, I see. Again, it's a matter of opinion. I would pick LeBron over Duncan.
Just that they're positional. There's okay, so we can quibble
all
about
time. Would you put him at a small forward?
Tim Duncan
power forward?
Tim Duncan. All due respect to Bill Russell, Tim Duncan's the greatest hybrid defender in NBA history. Russell was a center. Tim Duncan had to play both power forward and center, and he had to play both power forward and center with and without David Robinson in there. Tim was very effective as a low post center, as David Robinson was a power forward for those Spurs against the Knicks and Lakers. I mean, he was just a dominant force as a center. As a power forward, he did pretty well as well, but I would say he's slightly a better center in the playoffs, Gerald. But I mean, we're talking about like top 10 players here in league history. But like you said, Tim Duncan did things very quietly. But for our hoop heads, his performances were very loud.
Dara says we must play at the Euro. We can't make up the athleticism deficit without him. With OKC without him. If he's shooting 25% like he did in college, then that's a problem. I understand he shot 50% overall, but 25% from three, he's not going to find his way to the basket with 2 7-footers as easily against OKC as he did in the past, like in the SEC. So he's going to be able to have to trust and rely on that jumper a little bit more. And it has to be more effective in order for him to stay on the court.
Gerald, let me ask you a question. How do you feel complimentary wise about, say, if we played a team like OKC or Houston with that double big lineup? Do you see LeBron and Ayton being able to combat that double big lineup?
Right now, it all depends on if we can hit from the outside. If we can hit from the outside, that opens things up a lot for a pick and roll action between Luka, LeBron, and Ayton. I think that makes things a lot easier, but that's the key. Will they get enough support from the outside to stretch out the floor and make OKC pay for its overplays on defense? I mean, they overplay a lot on defense, and it's worse for them because they create a lot of turnovers, and they do a lot of good things as far as getting them out in transition and whatnot. They are not a good half-court offensive team. They'll even tell you that. They're very predictable when they do. It's either Williams one way or SGA the other to go ahead and make up their mind on what they want to do, whether they shoot or they facilitate. So if that's the case, you have to go ahead and just limit your turnovers. Don't get them to the line as much as they like, and you can stay effectively in the game, but you also have to shoot well from beyond the arc at a 36, 37, 40% clip. If you can do that as a team, then you can just keep them off balance enough to go ahead and give yourself a chance to win. Didn't say win. I said give yourself a chance to win. And with Luka and LeBron, if they're not playing excessive minutes and they're not gassed, anything is possible in the fourth quarter.
Anything's possible. And I hate to use that phrase, Gerald, because we have a Celtics fan in the chat. Hello, Nathaniel. Welcome back. And we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not, again, Brad. I put Brad Stevens. I know that Gregory put Ujiri as his number 3 GM. I would put Brad Stevens as a top GM candidate for the Lakers if that would be the case, because he is good at what he does. So Nathaniel, I'm not going to doubt you. I mean, the Simons trade was very good for you guys as far as getting someone that you can turn for more assets because your team's going to absolutely suck this year. But again, the reason why I want the Lakers to go all in is because I think they have a 2-year window right now, because the Celtics with Tatum is going to take 2 years to get them to back where Nathaniel wants them to go. And in doing so, you have 2 opportunities at the brass ring to tie and pass the Celtics. But they didn't go all in, so we'll see what happens. Again, I'm concerned that, again, Nathaniel could be right. We are buying time for the Celtics by not going all in, and that's what concerns me a lot.
Oh no, it's a fair point. It's a fair point, and that is a concern on a different level. And so there's always time to reset and get the ship back on course. That being said, I mean, there's no evidence to suggest that it's going to be righted tomorrow or in a week from now, Gerald. So I guess at this point we're just going to have to remain patient and see what unfolds. But I'm in complete agreement with you. You have a 2-year window here where you can take advantage of your rival's serious issues.
Once again, it is Magic Man Sean Grice, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. We truly appreciate it. Again, we'll see how this plays itself out with Mark Walter eventually taking over the team. When that happens, we just saw the Boston Celtics, Nathaniel's team, finally get their ownership situation resolved. And hopefully it will take less time for the Lakers to get theirs resolved, but we will wait and see. But we will be back in the coming days to go ahead and talk more about what's going on with the Lakers fast break. I know, cheers to Mark out there. He just passed along a note thinking about us, but I know he's a very busy guy as of late. So, Sports Baby, you can't be teasing him as much as you like because he's been very busy. So, he's living a life, Sports Baby. What can I say? But Sports Baby, again, we are indebted to you, the Lakers fast break community, for what you did by getting up early and showcasing the slaughter. Was it slaughter in Slovenia or slaughter?
The slaughter of the Slovenians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was terrible. But you know what? I am truly thankful and blessed that we have someone like Sports Baby on our side, even though he's an Indiana Pacers fan, getting up at 4:00 in the morning to show something relating to the Lakers. Just I'm overwhelmed by his generosity and kindness at the time in doing that. And again, You do not have to do that for the EuroLeague games. But if you guys want to convince them, you do that in the chat. But last thing, again, I want to go ahead and talk about something we talked about earlier. If you guys want to start a fantasy football league, you have to let me know. I know that Brian, who I saw for our fantasy football chat, asked us. And so I put it out there. Magic Man said he'd be interested. Henry said he'd be interested. I'm interested. But that's just 3. Joe always wants money on the line. So it's like, okay, whatever. But if you want a free league.
Yeah, instead of Minnesota Fats, it's Temecula Fats.
I heard October as well, Greg. But then again, if you relate it to the Boston Celtics situation, could be a year. Could be a year plus, like it was for the Boston Celtics situation. So I was first told by reports in ESPN that was leaning towards October, but now who knows at this point. If I get more solid information on that, I will bring it to you guys. But at this point, seeing how the Boston Celtics situation only got finalized last week.
Yes.
And they made the arrangements over a year ago, then it could be a long while before we see Mark Walter officially in place. I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll wait and see. Hustler says the situation is different because they don't have all the money together. Well, remember that Mark Walter is just fronting the group. He is not it's not his entire billions of dollars. It is also the Guggenheims, and I know they're good because it's for the Dodgers, but we will wait and see if it is going to be October or or later. But we'll wait and see. But we'll report it. We'll report it here and give you guys the good news when it happens. But it's the Lakers Fast Break. Magic Man, truly grateful that you're here as well, sacrificing your time. 1:42 in the morning when you're at. So again, guys, you guys got to give these shout outs to these guys that are going the extra mile for you out there. I know you guys just kind of forget that at times, but Magic Man going late, Sports Baby going early. Guys got to give some props to these guys for doing that. But any last thoughts on our way out?
Gerald, JJ Redick is an open book. And I say that as somebody who's not a JJ Redick fan. What? You're the head coach of my Los Angeles Lakers, so I'm willing to give you a reprieve. However, and we will explore this in a few months, if you lose in the first round, you're out of the family, Gerald. If you lose, you're out of the family. Vince Lombardi.
So he is an open book, and if it doesn't work out, you close that book and go to the e-reader instead. Amazon Kindle. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be by. Someone will be by this weekend, whether it's the Lakerholics or if it's me and Sean or Joe or one of the guys. We'll go ahead and try to fill up your time a little bit on the weekend. But thanks again for watching. Don't forget, my Pop Culture Cosmos episode will drop tomorrow morning with TJ Johnson, where we talk about Gamescom and more, and PlayStation sticking it to you even more. Go ahead and talk about that as well. So please go ahead and support us. Like and subscribe. It is truly appreciated from all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.
Very respectful.
Yes, unlike Joe.
Unlike Joe.
Yes, who's unavailable. Speaks for itself, doesn't it, Magic?
Yes, it does. Joe, you're fat and you're lazy.